Hello, everyone. Welcome to our mooncast today. Thank you so much for being here with us. It is a new moon in Libra. I'm Christy. This is Sharon. Today, like I said, it's a new moon. So we are planting seeds, manifesting. It doesn't have to be relationships, but that is what Libra is about. Go ahead and type in the chat the area of life that you would like to hold in mind as we manifest and plant seeds today. It could be self expression, money, work, health, spirituality. It could be your family, siblings, friends. If you're a business owner, it could be that. So Libra deals with balance, specifically in relationships. And I don't know if you've seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, but the Naomi character was based off of Dr. Nadine Macaluso. She says that relationships fall out of balance and there tends to be, you could call it toxic abuse, a narcissistic situation. She says there's two specific things that create this kind of a toxic situation. She says there's a power imbalance. So one person has resources or control over the other. And then the second is intermittent reinforcement. So 30% of the time, that person is nice and loving and kind. And then there's 70% of the time where it's the other side of the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So that came to mind for me. And it's especially important in my life. If you guys know my story, then you'd know I was in a toxic relationship for 5 years, which I couldn't admit till the end had been abusive, not only emotionally, mentally, and financially, but also physically. So this topic is very close to my heart. I actually have a podcast series called Dating After DV, if you're interested in hearing more about that. When I saw that today was Libra balance in relationships, I was like, well, this is important. And I learned a lot through that. And it helped me create a beautiful, balanced marriage that I now enjoy. Sharon.
Yes, it's really something very important to me right now, especially as those of you who have been with us on this journey. You've watched me go through my cards journey of the Seven of Diamonds in Saturn, and then releasing, especially during our full moon workshop, releasing all the things that have held me back related to finances and what my value was and what my worth was. And as a King of Diamonds from the Destiny card system, I am supposed to be the master of values. And I had forgotten that somewhere along the way. So it's really good now that we are through that release portion and I'm creating who I am now. For those of you who joined us for the full moon release workshop, I did go ahead and follow up for myself and made the list that we had recommended and went out to a fire pit in the backyard and actually performed a little release ceremony for myself. And for all of the items on my list that I was releasing, I thank them for being in my life, keeping me safe, showing me the lessons they have taught me. And then I released them. And since then, things have just been turning around. And now I am creating the me that I'm living into, the possibility of being somebody who is incredibly abundant in health and wealth and family and friends and relationships. And it's such a wonderful place to be. And I'm so glad that you're all here with us so that we can work with you to create what you're living into for the future.
Awesome. So Sharon and I use human design and destiny cards. Destiny cards is an ancient system. It's pre-Egyptian, pre-tarot. It uses astrology and numerology, and it's based on the 52 card deck, which has ties to our Gregorian calendar. There's 52 weeks in a year, 52 cards in a deck, 7 days in a week, 7 visible planets. We use this system as a calendar system for our lives. And it's actually really crazy. As a Virgo, I'm very woo averse, which is funny. Here we are, right? I got my first reading after this toxic relationship ended finally. And that was April 18th, 2023. And she told me December 28th, there's healthy love coming into your life. Oh, I'm getting emotional. That's cute. That's the day I met my husband, actually. I looked back and I was like, listening to the reading, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's actually the day that I met him. She told me I was going to be moving, which I did. She told me I was going to be spending time overseas near water. Well, I went to Costa Rica shortly after that. It gave me a sense of direction. And I have a sense of direction in my human design with my defined G center. But this helped me turn on the headlights and say, okay, I might know where I'm going, but is that really where I'm going? Am I supposed to be here? It helped me in my overactive nine of clubs mind make sense of and accept what was going on and know that I wasn't making this massive mistake running away from home. But in fact, that is where my true love found me. So that's Destiny cards. Human design is a new system blending astrology, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, the Chinese I Ching, the Jewish Kabbalah, and quantum physics to create a snapshot of what your aura looked like the moment you were born. And you carry with you that blueprint throughout your life. It shows your gifts, it shows your opportunities, your potential for wisdom, how you relate to other people, why other people drive you up the wall. We can see that in your chart specifically. Those are the two systems we use, and we love coming on here with you every full moon and new moon to play around with our favorite systems and answer questions and ultimately make a real difference in your life, just like this has made in ours. Without further ado, who would like to work with us today? You can raise your hand or unmute. Or if you have questions about the systems, we can talk about that too. So, Cecily, you said money and abundance. Can you give us some context and we can have a look at your charts and cards?
Last time, I know Sharon was like, we want updates from last other stuff. So it was a while ago when we did it, or September, and I was just barely trying to get clients, but I got 9 in September, so I'm happy about that. But now with October, I need like 10 more.
Sharon, you will never guess what Cecily's decanate ruler card is. It's a 9 of clubs.
Oh my gosh, no wonder.
I know. Cecily is 3 of diamonds, which is perfect with what you're talking about today. An ace of spades and the 9 of clubs. 2 of your themes for the year. You have this business deal, wheeling and dealing, financial arrangements as your long range. And then you have the 3 of spades, which is like being pulled in 2 directions with work or possibly ways of marketing. Your Pluto challenge for the year is 4 of diamonds. You want financial stability. The result is a change in your finances and possibly values. This 6 of diamonds in your displacement, that can feel, and you're in your Mars still, so we've got a lot of year to cover, but that can kind of feel like a ceiling. Like you want to make more money, but it just feels like every time you could have 10 more clients and it would still feel like something was like not shifting or up leveling. So don't worry, you're wanting the stability. You have kind of this ceiling, but close to your birthday by the end of the year is when that bubble really pops. That's what I'll say for the year timeline.
You're saying there's hope by my next birthday.
Of course, there's always hope, but yes. Also, this could play into it. On your other spread, you have the 2 of diamonds. You want this up leveling of your finances and values. You want the creativity. The result is that you end up as the businesswoman. Thing I see here with the displacement of the businesswoman is that these two could tie in together. It's almost like you're making the money, but then you're spending it faster too, because you want this up leveling of lifestyle. So just watch the budget. Know that that's a tendency this year is that you're like, oh, I'm making more. So now I can start incorporating this into my budget without actually spending. This can cause that 6 ceiling thing. So just make sure you're putting away from every transaction. Make sure you're saving, especially for taxes too. That's something that kind of comes up to bite people later.
Yeah.
Your Mars, wow. Look at the last 3 periods. You have an 8 of diamonds in Saturn. You have a 9 of diamonds in your Uranus with a 10. This can look like unexpected financial fulfillment. So you may not even have to wait till your next birthday. It could be anytime March, April, May. It looks like things really start to ramp up for you. And look at these business deals over here starting in your Saturn. This ace of diamonds, something new pops up and you've got tens of diamonds everywhere. So make a wish list of your ideal budget. Watching that queen of diamonds, make sure we're not going overboard. The end of your year looks really good. 7s and 8s, king of spades. My gosh. Okay, you're going to have to come back in March and tell us what this ends up looking like.
Well, you also mentioned I would maybe meet a partner this year too. So I wonder if some of that is intertwined.
It looks like that would happen now-ish. Look at this 9 of hearts and an ace of hearts in Jupiter. So you meet someone who brings not only financial, but spiritual benefit into your life. It could be
more important to me.
Yeah, it could be a clubs man who brings you stability. That's what I see here in this spread.
Women,
And
they would like support with the union because I'm a single mom too, so there's a lot on my plate.
yeah, well, that could be what this financial arrangement is about here. In your long range, you're looking for that union of values, I would say.
Yeah.
And it would be a karmic relationship because you have the Six of Hearts in your environment. Either way, very exciting stuff. You have to come back and update us.
Hold on. Why would I kind of thought karmic relationship wouldn't be a good thing? And karmic relationship meant to learn lessons and like let go of possibly.
Yeah, that can be the case, especially if there's a karmic relationship in your Saturn period that starts, because Saturn is more like the burden or something to be learned, be taught, receiving the lesson. But karmic in destiny cards, it can mean you guys have unfinished business to work out from a past life, and this time can end up in a very peaceful, loving relationship. I should clarify that. Thank you for that question.
It can be like a union of like, wow, the lessons were learned, or like maybe ending the karmic cycle or something.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. And also look at this in your Ace of Spades spread, you have the card of unconditional love. So this can be a year where you actually really receive and have an experience of that. And it's a good experience because, usually Seven of Hearts, this is actually my husband's card, can be like betrayal. Seven is a challenge, and then hearts are love, right? So it can be like abandonment issues, betrayal, difficulty, heartbreak, but it's in an amazing position for you, which means it's protecting you this year. Unconditional love
I've
is
already been through all that other crap, so maybe it's time for something better.
exactly. So you're not going to fall for the same stuff, right?
Yeah.
You'll see it
No.
coming this year. So
Cool.
Yeah.
One
And
question
on that
though
note-
with destiny cards, you show me this spread right here, and if I'm correct, it doesn't change throughout my whole life. Like it's just one spread from my birthday, or is it something that changes somehow as life progresses? I'm just
yeah, it does change
Okay.
every year. It's actually based on the displacement
Okay.
cards. There's a life spread that never changes for everybody. Every single year in your calendar, you are displacing one of those cards in the spread, which gives the mathematical formula for every other card to be where it is. So everyone has different spreads. For example, when Sharon was 33, one of her spreads, the Nine of Clubs, was, and actually you too, because you're Nine of Clubs, we had the exact same spread. But depending on our situation in life, if we were married or single or a business owner or employee or unemployed, there's going to be different ways that the cards show up and the different things that they represent. Everyone has a spread that is called your life spread, and this never changes. And this governs, as you can see, from June 14th, 1981, you had the Ace of Spades was your theme until 1994. The first 14 years of your life were governed by this. Then the next 14 years, I think, of your life were governed by the Seven of Hearts. So you could have had a lot of heartbreak in your teen years, or you're dealing with your parents or something, making you feel abandoned or whatever it was. Then in 2007 to 2020, first half, you could have dealt with a lot of poverty mindset issues. So like maybe you had your sights set on making a ton of money. That's the millionaire card. But then all it was doing was bringing up all your poverty consciousness for you to deal with, right? Now from 2020, you're dealing with restlessness, moves, changes, different lifestyle, different work, different health. Everything feels restless. And we've talked about this, right? There is a life spread that never changes and it takes a lot longer to go through. But we like to look at the annual spread because it makes sense of what's going on right now for you. You know what I mean?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't have that understanding. So thank you.
I've never explained that on one of these calls. So thank you for your question.
Awesome. You guys are awesome.
Thanks again,
So-
Cecily. Oh, yes.
I did want to ask you, did any of that ring true that Christy was
Yeah,
talking about?
Oh yeah, like with the life spreads.
Yes. Can you share with us a little bit about where that was true for you or how that was true for you?
Definitely in high school, I had my first love heartbreak and struggled a lot with my mom. Like I would even try and talk to her like, we don't have the same relationship as my friends' moms. Like I recognize something different. I recognize we didn't have what I wanted, but we didn't have anything normal. But she never like responded well to that. So that could have been that abandonment she was talking about. And then I don't feel like I was like in 2007 to 2020, I was married. She talked more about poverty, which we never had tons of money, but I don't feel like I was searching it. but it makes sense where it's like, okay, I definitely know I have the money blocks I've had to remove. So that made sense. I also got divorced in that time. And what she talked about the last 5 years is right on. Every word she said, I'm like, yep, 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 yep. I can explain in detail, but I'll keep it simple and just say yes.
Thank you for sharing that. And the other thing I wanted to point out from a human design standpoint is a reminder, because you do have all of those amazing money cards coming up for you, and you have a lot of transformation coming up for you. You want to be careful based on the fact that you're a manifester with the open head and undefined ajna. So you want to be careful who you're associating with and who you're spending your time with.
Yes,
Because,
totally.
right? Because you already know that, but it's especially important this year with all of this potential that you have ahead of you. You want to make sure you're around the right people, so you're creating the right things, the things that are going to move you forward and expand you in the ways that you want to expand.
Well, and just because of my spirit and being empath, I attract really good, but I also attract those bad ones that want to suck me dry and take advantage of me. So yes, I have to always be very leery, or people that are meant to learn lessons from me. So it's like, that's not someone I want to surround myself with. I have to be very careful because I can feel that energy too. But so I need to be careful on the purpose of the relationships as well. Like, okay, what is it meant for? Is this to elevate me, or am I supposed to teach a lesson, or is this trying to drag me down? So if that's what that means.
Yeah. Are you able to see my screen now?
Yeah.
And like you were saying, as the empath, with all of this openness in your design, you are going to be very susceptible to other people's identity and other people potentially trying to prove their worth and value, and other people's fears. And especially, like, this is the part that I really want to point out, is don't let other people's negative thoughts in. So you may, with the rest of this year, stop watching any kind of sensationalized news.
So it stresses me out. I learned that years ago. But even like shows or movies, I'm very particular about. It has to be positive and happy. I can't bring any of that negativity into me. It affects me.
Yes. So just a little reminder for this year. And one of the things we talked about on the full moon release workshop is making a list of who Cecily is in the future. You know, what do you wear? What time do you wake up? How do you walk? How do you talk? How do you dress? All of that stuff. And just make that list, put it up someplace, and start living into that, because your cards are going to very nicely lead you there. It's going to lead you wherever your mind is going.
That's awesome. I try and meditate in most spaces, but you guys always encourage me to write stuff down. So I appreciate that reminder. I go to keep it in my head and try and put it in my body, but let's put it on paper outside of me too.
Thank you both for all of that and for your participation. So we have Karen, 8 of clubs, 10 of diamonds, 10 of hearts. What is going on, Karen? Welcome back. Thanks for being here. Do you have a question? What can we look at for you today?
Well, it's the same that we talked about last time with the health and wellness. Still recovering. I just got sick again a couple weeks ago and was out for a week. The injury's healing on track, so that's good. I just updated my chat thing saying that being self-employed, my business is really dependent on my health and wellness. So I don't know if there's anything new for this weekly spread or what you're going to look at.
Yeah. Sure thing. We can look at weekly. It looks like this week you could start feeling better on the 19th. You have an 8 of spades, which is overcoming all obstacles in health and work. Do you have like a cold or something?
I had a cold and still have the lingering cough.
I would say give it another 2 days. It looks like things will clear up. The weekly spread is the same themes at a much smaller level than the annual spread. So it would be this kind of a thing that we can look for daily cards and apply those themes to life.
Christy, I have a question for you in regards to her cards. Since the card system talks about how the face cards are primarily people, back to her planetary ruling card, I noticed that I'm the King of Diamonds and the King of Hearts. Can you say anything about what that means with the 8 of Hearts with the King of Hearts and the 8 of Clubs with the King of Diamonds?
Sure. So eights are overcoming obstacles. It ultimately means power and abundance. It's the point of fullness of the harvest, right? Before the harvest, rather. So today, with an eight of hearts in Venus, I would say Venus rules. Let's put it this way. On my Venus day, which is Wednesday, Venus rules the home and femininity, relationships with women, beauty, shopping, these kinds of things. So I have become more cognizant of what my weekdays actually are. On Mercury day, that is the day where your mind is kind of going crazy. You're either communicating a lot or you're thinking a lot, or there's a lot of general movement going on mentally for you. It could be a day of running a lot of errands because Mercury rules trips, like short trips in a car. On a Mercury day, I will wake up and I'm like, I need to listen to a podcast or my voice notes from Sharon, or like, I just need something keeping my mind focused and getting things done. Maybe there's to-do lists because I'm just like ADHD on my Mercury day. Then on the Venus day, I clean my bathtub, I maybe go shopping, or I do a wardrobe edit, or I'll do a face mask, take a bath, and that's why I'm cleaning the bathtub, or just like making good food, talking to my girlfriends. With an eight of hearts on a day like this, you could feel emotional love, power, and charm. It'd be a good day for brunch with the girls or some cocktails later. The king of hearts could be Sharon. And also, if that were to be just a general energy over your day, that would be mastery of your emotions. So this would be a good day for a girl's day if you were feeling better. It can also be the day where you have more mastery over your emotions and things start to heal up the rest of the weekend. That could be something. Me and Sharon were just talking about our emotions are pretty much in charge of our immune systems. And so that could be something for yourself. I mean, you're here with us on the call, so that could
Yes.
be that.
I have my phrase, you can't make this shiitake mushrooms up. It's so fascinating to me that you showed up for this call and you haven't always been able to be here, but you are here today. And I'm one of your cards that's related to the Eight of Hearts with the girlfriends. And then the Eight of Clubs with the King of Diamonds. I was just speaking with Karen yesterday about a business possibility for her, like a change in career path in addition to what she's doing now. It's interesting that I see my King of Diamonds, which is the value suit. So usually when I look at my cards, if I'm looking at money and finance and my business, I'm going to look at the cards related to my King of Diamonds card. So it's interesting that that's coming up as well as we're talking about these things.
And also, I will say for Mars, so Mars relates to work, it could be career. It also relates to your relationship with men or masculine people. I started finding that on Thursdays, which is my Mars day, I would always get in an argument with my sister on Thursdays. And then I started realizing I am her Mars like first card. So we have a lot of fun together, but we also get in these heated arguments. It's like, how come up in time we have a conversation? It was like, I got to stop talking to her on Thursdays. It's too much.
We hardly ever argue.
Anything else, Sharon?
Yeah, that brings up a good point. I was going to mention when Cecily was asking about karmic relationships. So Karen and I have something, we haven't really talked about this on these shows before, but when you look at the spiritual spread and the life spread, which is the master set of how the cards are structured, we have something that's called a earned connection. And what that means is that we have had several past lives together. Most of those were ones where we did not get along the way we do in this life, where we had obstacles to overcome, we had disagreements, we might have been adversaries, we might have been business rivals, something like that. And we worked through those things time and time again to the point where in our last connection together, we overcame all of that. And now I'm getting emotional thinking about it. And so we earned the right to be together in this capacity in this life. So Cecily, you might be having somebody come into your life where you're doing that last bit of work with them to earn that connection for the next time.
Yeah, very well said. I wanted to quickly point out that tomorrow, the 18th, you do have this fulfillment of spirituality or lifestyle with a business or financial arrangement. And your other spread, Sharon's card with another way of making money. So
Awesome.
I feel like you guys should talk tomorrow.
Yeah, let's definitely do.
Okay.
Awesome. Anything else for you, Karen?
If there's anything in the life spread that points
Yeah.
out, because that was really interesting with Cecily.
Mm-hmm. So this is nice. So since 2016, you have Saturn, an 8 of spades, which is the strongest card for overcoming illness in the best place you want it. Saturn rules health, spades rule health, 8 is overcoming obstacles and power. Saturn can feel like a burden, right? So this is on schedule, what you've been dealing with. I wonder if it is a mental, because you've got this King of Clubs here. I wonder if it's like getting your mind out of negative patterns. It could be allowing others to support you, because in Saturn over here, you have a 2 of spades. So that could be, it feels like a burden to allow someone to support you. Or maybe it could sound like I can't trust anyone to support me. That's a mental thing we need to let go.
She's also a pure manifester. I'm in charge. I'm in control. I don't need anyone else's help.
Mhm. Yeah, and that could extend into business too, because you have the businesswoman in Saturn. So that it can feel like a bit of a burden to get things where you want them. This is life spread stuff. All of this changes in 2029. And that's when, in the Uranus period of their life, people become a lot more spiritual and more focused on community, friendships, giving back, and real estate. It can seem tricky, but enjoy the process.
Sounds
As we say.
good. Sounds like a good direction to be going.
Look at all these aces. You've got all these new beginnings coming in 2029. You have spiritual stuff coming up and creativity and fun. Financial fulfillment starting in 2029. That's nice. Change of relationship status unexpectedly, maybe. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so I have a random question.
Great.
So I noticed this goes to 2042.
Yep.
Is that like how long I'm going to live?
No, that's just 2042 is the start of your next 14-year period. So you've got a long ways to go still. And then there are spreads after that, but usually I don't have like 102-year-olds asking for a spread.
Right.
That's a good question. I should have that on hand just in case.
I thought that was
Yeah.
interesting.
But one of the things that I heard from Robert, who wrote the books, is that the spread goes to 99 and then it starts over. If you do go into the hundreds, you're starting over. You can look at what it was when you were a 1-year-old.
I don't want to go back.
You'll be in diapers again, probably, eating soft foods, bucket of fish.
I don't want to go through all the hard lessons again.
Oh, no, you'll have the wisdom this time. So it'll
Okay,
be
good.
much easier.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a growth life this time
Mhm.
around, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Again,
Thank you,
nice
Karen.
having you here,
Thank you.
of course. Torrance, we're ready for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, we've got this new moon coming up. I really came across this amazing book called 3 Beliefs of the Ego. And so really catching myself, and like I came to this crazy realization that my ego has even gotten into my meditations. So drawing this awareness about my ego as I'm striving for my essence. I'm in this time where I'm having challenges with trying to figure out, is it my essence? Is it my ego? I'm starting to catch signs in the flow, but still having that conflict of which one's which. The main thing is like I'm really starting to get my stride and starting to get myself out there for my business and that kind of thing too. So this marketing thing is coming up where it's my next big thing to tackle. And so just kind of just trying to figure out like what, like, I don't know, start with maybe my weekly reading. I'll hand the mic over to see what your thoughts and inputs would be.
And Christy, before you jump into the cards, I pulled up his design just as a reminder, Torrance, that because you are a reflector and you are completely open, when you talk about ego, there really is no your ego. You are completely fluid. So again, like we were saying with Cecily, the people that you surround yourself with are really important, because you're taking in and sampling all of those energies all the time in all of the areas, but especially in the heart, ego, will center here. And I just want to remind you not to take on a label for yourself, because you are one of the blessed few that gets to be anything and everything at every moment of time. That's your gift for all of us, to be able to sample my ego, your wife's ego, and your daughter's ego, and sample everybody around you. You don't want to take that sampling and then attach it to yourself as this is me, right? You just want to sample it, see how it feels, maybe guide people inside of that feeling when you're with them. That's who you are. You are the intuitive that can guide everyone, and then let it go.
Thank you.
On top of that, I will add, so looking at the existential questions of each of the human design types, if you're a manifester, your question is, what is my impact? It's like your life question that you can stake your claim on. The generator or manifesting generator is, who am I? So when we hear know thyself, that is like the generator battle cry. As a non-sacral, like yourself, a reflector, but also like me as a projector, we've been conditioned to try to know ourselves and see our ego and essence. I totally get where you're coming from. And we're not really here to see that. Like it can be useful for our own self-awareness, but really as a projector, my question is, who is the person I'm looking at? Who are you? One-on-one, I can see very deeply into people, as every projector can. But the reflector is here to ask, who are they? And for that reason, like we've said in the past, the reflector, in the ideal world of how the types would function, the reflector would be the judge or the justice system, because you can see what is just and fair and what the dynamic should be, right? So there is a huge value in excavating your ego away from that. We're all consciousness kind of siloed into individuals, so it's useful to look at that. But really, your question in this life is, who are they as a collective? It could be a group too. And this is where I totally agree with Sharon saying, watch who's around you and what you're taking in from them. But if you're feeling like in your head it's getting too much or too confusing with the ego stuff, rest assured that's not really your question. That's a generator question, but they are 70% of the world and you're 1%. So you can shake that off if it's disempowering.
Thank you.
Or
Definitely.
let's start tonight, right? Just because we're on a roll with that with everyone today, and I'm happy with expanding this. So since 2014, you've been dealing with Mars. 10 of Diamonds can be groups of people, values-based. The 10 of Diamonds specifically can also, we've talked a little bit about this, have a poverty consciousness. It's like it knows it's here for abundance. So then it's kind of looking around like, well, then where is it? You know? And then the 3 of Hearts, you also have 3 of Spades over here. That is all creativity and meeting new people and opening up and self-expression. Then you have the Millionaire's card here with fulfillment and love. So this can be pulling out these poverty consciousness sorts of things that you're here dealing with until 2027. Before you know it, you're going to enter into your Jupiter period in 2027, which is very timely with human design. When you do have this fulfillment and love that brings spiritual and material blessings to you. So that's the life spread. And then your weekly for right now, you have the Father card and Venus, which makes total sense.
And also me.
And you, yes. And then you have up leveling of spirituality with the 10 of Hearts, a group of people, and then Sharon again with the Queen of Diamonds. That's interesting. A lot of people in your spread today and groups. And we're talking about marketing.
Another thing to point out is I know Torrance through Karen,
Mm-hmm.
and Karen's decadent ruler is the 10 of Hearts. So there may be another connection for Karen and Torrance to be creating right now as well.
That could definitely be. I find with the weekly, there's so many possible things that it's more of a good tool for retrospect. It's like, oh yeah, that did happen, you know? Then, you know, we can make a prediction and people are like, oh, that didn't happen, so it's wrong. But it did happen a different way. For example, my reader told me that I had my reading April 18th, and then I did another one in September for my birthday. I was like, update, please. while I'm waiting for this true love. She said, you're going to be moving probably like November, but definitely around that time. And you're going to be going back to Canada. She said, but you're happy about it. I was like, I don't think so. What did end up happening is after I met my husband, he did bring me north to Southern California. So, my friend would be like, oh, well, she was wrong. And I'm like, no, but she was right. The context was that I was going to be moving back somewhere. My time here in my Eat, Pray, Love was done. And the point is that the cards are always right in retrospect. And it's fun to play with them looking into the future or for themes like specific questions. They can just mean so many different things. I mean, you could meet a 7 of diamonds person unexpectedly on October 21st, but you'd never see that coming, right? And of course not, because it's Uranus, so you wouldn't see it coming anyway. Okay, Taurans, where can we go with this? So we're talking about marketing. We've looked at your yearly spread before. Is there anything specifically about marketing that you're wondering about?
Oh, I just feel this sense of urgency, right? And it's like, because of that urgency, I feel like it's taking me out of my momentum or taking me out of where I really want to be at, right? And that's just kind of like working on things, little pieces, nuggets here, nuggets there, between taking care of this little one, managing my house. And so it's like, there's just so many moving pieces that are happening with me right now. The common thing that keeps coming for me, it's the biggest struggle is, am I doing enough? Right. That's my biggest struggle. And I think that's where it's like I said, maybe this weekly, honestly, I was even thinking, I don't know if there's a monthly reading, but if you have a gist of what that would look like, I would probably put more piece into but I don't know. I mean, I'm just kind of, that's where my biggest challenge has been more than anything else. Because I heard what you told me last time and it was so helpful. It's definitely been a situation where my partner being such a type A person, I feel like if I'm not moving forward, that can cause some strain between us. Things have been so great. That's the last thing I want to have to go.
I hear you. Your theme for the year is this poverty consciousness and financial challenge. And so I totally, when you're like, it feels tense, it's like, yes, absolutely. And your Mercury for the whole year is a 3 of diamonds, which is like anxiety over money. That's going to be on your mind this whole year. So just recognizing that. And your Pluto is a 5 of diamonds. So you desperately want this change of finances. I know it's easy to say, don't worry about any of that, but this is very to be expected with what you're saying. We don't have a monthly reading, but we do have a 7-week reading. Like we say with cycles, there's 7 days a week, 7 spreads in a life spread, and the cards change every 52 days. This is your 7-week spread. You started a new 7-week spread on October 9th. October 16th, starting yesterday, you have this 9 of spades in Venus with the 6 of hearts. This can be kind of like, it could be some drama at home because Venus rules the home and women. That could be kind of what that represents. But the 6 of hearts here is saying nothing's actually changing. It could mean that nothing is actually changing for better or worse. It could just mean this feels a little sticky for the next week. After that, you have some breakthroughs in your Mars and your work with creativity and self-expression. Jupiter, October 30th, you could have a financial deal with someone new or related to a new desire that you have. November 6th, you've got an 8 of diamonds, which is really good for money. You have that with a 10 of spades. And yeah, this whole 7-week period, you're dreaming and wishing for financial stability.
Yeah, the good news, Torrance, the business opportunity I was talking about with Karen, I also want to plug you into this opportunity as well. So what's the day that he and I are supposed to have our conversation, Christy?
Well, it could be October 30th that week because he does have these financial cards there. Let me see what else.
We're right now, too.
Could be today, starting yesterday. Yeah,
Yes.
financial stability. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk today, Torrance. I'll fill you in.
Yes. I'm loving where this is blossoming with all the different spreads that we've never talked about before.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. This
Thanks
makes
for
it
being
so much better for me. I needed
Awesome.
this. Thank you both.
That is the goal.
It's felt so well.
Awesome. We have time for our last 2, Ruby Ann.
So my question is that, okay, so the last time, Christy, I had you read for me, I was in a big transition into October. That is what happened. It's been crazy. a lot has happened in the last couple months. I feel like I should be coming into a new phase. And so I'm curious as to what is next for me.
I gotcha. Perfect. This is exciting. Can you say about the area of life that you're feeling this in?
There's been a lot of transition around me, but also in me in these last few months. I've definitely very much elevated in my thinking, in my emotions, in my processes, in who I am as a human and how I show up in this world. And so that's what I feel like I went through the last few months. I'm just curious as to, is that over, and can I expect something maybe a little more calm in my life and soon?
Yeah. Okay. So this year you have, as your Pluto, you are very much wanting an upheaval, a killing off of the old and a graduation to the next thing.
So
and
true.
you have 2 nines in Pluto this year. So you want something to end, to explode and have like a phoenix moment. It's not only in your lifestyle, work, and health, but also in your emotions. The result for you, you have 2 very spiritual cards. So there is definitely something coming in where you are up leveling, something to do with your relationships too, because you've got this 2 of hearts, Pluto, and then you end up with this financial arrangement perhaps, or a union of values. It could be a creative year too, or feeling a little bit anxiety, but there it is, the 3 of diamonds in displacement. This is interesting. You're feeling like you've done this elevation. Since August 31st, you have the Christ card, which is like surrendering what you want for someone else, putting their needs ahead of your own. I don't know if that has anything to do with groups for you or work. You have 2 10s in Mars, so that can be, well, 10 is after the 9, right? The 9 is the death or the graduation, and 10 is after that. So it's possible that you're starting to feel this next level, and it's like a new 1 plus 0. It's like a new ace. So you're like, what is this? But there is more stability coming. Actually, October 22nd, so in a couple of days, you have 4 of diamonds in Jupiter. That's nice. That is a very nice feeling. You could be letting go of some expectations or relationships that no longer serve you, or you have this beautiful experience of unconditional love. Actually, that's in both of your Jupiters, so that's interesting.
My son moves out today.
Oh, well, there's the letting go and unconditional
Yes.
love.
Which in August was when I asked him to move out.
What was his birthday?
March 10th.
Got it. Okay. That's interesting. We've talked about that before with the 7 of hearts. It looks good. You do have a couple of 5s over here, so that can indicate some kind of restlessness. Ultimately, here's Sharon and your friendships over here, the King of Hearts. I would call this year a very spiritual year for you because of all the 5s, 7s, and 9s. You do have a fair amount of power here, and the 4 of diamonds. Things are going to be settling out at the 7-week.
Because I know I still got change. Like change is still there for me. I'm in the end of my school, so I finished my bachelor's degree in March next year, and then I'll be getting into a career job. So there's still stuff to come, but I'm hoping my person feels a little more settled.
This year can feel like, again, with the displacements, you have a 7. So this whole year is about unconditional love and letting go, and then possibly some anxiety over your values or finances. Give yourself some grace. It's a kind of a messy year, but you're powerful. You're a king of clubs. Are you a recovering control freak? I'm looking at your cards. You're a king of clubs, so off with their heads. You're a 4 of hearts, so you're like, stay in my little love bubble. And then this 8 of hearts, you're very used to being charming as long as all your ducks are in a row. So I can imagine that a year like this would have you feeling like the bubble has been popped. There's a hole in the box. Yes. The love's leaking out. I don't know what it could feel like for you, but let's look at next year just for some solace.
Right. Amen.
Do those statements resonate, Rubian?
Oh, yes.
I love it.
Oh, yes. I definitely, of course, I wouldn't use the word control freak. However, I am definitely somebody who is all about my systems and structures. And that has been something over the last few years that I've been releasing And then even with my kids, just releasing that need to control every little thing around me.
I am a recovering control freak, but as a 4 with an 8, 8 is power. You can abuse that. You're very powerful. With the 4 and the king, it's like this is totally foreign for you. The 4 is the systems, your family, your relationships, and your emotions. With this power, you're probably not used to having this much of a shake-up feeling, but it's all here for spiritual growth. You get bored without
That part.
like this. So
Yeah. And I've also, in relationships, like in the way I've been going about myself, definitely know how to put on the charm and get whatever I want. The last few months, I've just set all that aside and been like, no, that's just not a part of the game anymore. We're going to move into a more authentic space that doesn't have those roles.
yeah. Yeah, and that's hard for a female king too, because you are, you're generally used to being the one that calls the shots, which is traditionally not really a feminine thing. But next year should be easier. You're displacing yourself, the 8 of hearts. So you get to sit in the place of having a little bit more power in your emotions. It'll feel a little bit more like home for you. And then you have this peace, like a 6 of hearts. So there's generally more of a sense of peace and balance. The only thing I would say with next year, your theme is change of finances or values. So that can be good because that can be for the best. This Queen of Clubs over here, you might find yourself a little bit impatient. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on a Mooncast, but my reader called this the ultimate cunt card. So just get some massages, make sure you're relaxed next year. Otherwise, it looks great. It looks like things really even out next year. You've got tons of 4s and 8s next year. That looks nice.
When she
Okay.
has a 4 of hearts result card in her birth card next year, which is the marriage card.
Yes, that's nice. Next year, you have this Pluto is what you want. So you want like a love affair, and then it could end with a very solid relationship next year.
Okay.
If that's something you want.
At some point, yes, it is.
Otherwise, it can just be peace at home. And yeah, the result here, that's change of relationship status. Like I got married under a 5 of hearts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
if he's amazing, then I'm open.
I love it. Of course he would be. You wouldn't attract
Of
anyone
course
that's
he would be.
amazing.
Back.
Anything
Yeah.
else for you, Rubian?
No, ma'am, that helps me kind of just breathe better.
Nice. That's the goal.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rubian. Appreciate you being here. And last but certainly not least, Ian, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hey, thanks. How's it going?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Yes, I put in like money in relationships. So the full moon, I did a release. The Aries was in my 8th house, like sex and shared resource money. I released that and burned it and let the universe take it. I had 2 dates on the weekend, which was interesting. I opened myself up at the beginning of September to get back in the game. So I think using what you guys have told me about human design, being a generator and just like let things come to me instead of chase has changed my mindset. So kind of changed my approach to dating. And basically I just trying to meet different people. So there's been a couple different types of people coming into my life. And I'm wondering in which direction I'm supposed to go in.
Yeah.
One is go down this path and the other is the complete opposite path. So I'm curious with Libra, what's that showing? The last couple were in Virgo, which I am. And then Aries, I had a good handle on. But Libra is an empty house for me in astrology, and I've never really done much with that house. So how can I use what's destiny cards showing me for Libra? Tied into relationships and money because it's in my 2nd house. So that makes sense.
Okay. So you have an interesting thing similar to what Rubian has for next year, because you are also, as she is next year, displacing the 6 of hearts and 8 of hearts. So you're like in her future. She's like, hello to the future. This year, you do have a lot of this love, charm, and power. And usually, Robert says that the annual cards don't really become clear or come into play until after Mars. This makes sense that this has all been happening since September. Libra rules Venus. So for you, you have all these beautiful cards in your Venus this year. Do you happen to know the birthday that we can maybe look into?
One is the 2 people I went on dates with. One was January 10th and one was February 20th.
January 10th. So she's in your Venus, 4 of spades. And she's also in your Saturn and your Neptune. And then you said February 20th?
Yeah.
So she's in your Neptune as well. Interesting. Okay. Say more about what you're asking about Libra. I thought that was like
Well,
one of
just
the-
Libra rules relationships, and it's kind of in a money house for me. So, what's Libra supposed to like? What am I supposed to look for in relationships? Being a new moon, right? Going down a new path. What am I supposed to be aware of as I'm meeting new people? Based on my track record of not being great in relationships.
Well, Libra brings the balance, like we were saying, and you're a 10 of hearts. Something I've learned about 10s is that they can be obsessive about whatever suit they are. I have a 10 of hearts friend. So you could be like obsessive about relationships or a relationship. I would say you can observe if that's the case. Just know that you have all of this power and masculine power in that. And it's beautifully balanced with this Queen of Diamonds. I also want to see if you have a decadent ruler because I feel like I didn't check that last time. But because I didn't save your information that we need because you're on a cusp. So can you remind me what city you were born?
East York.
Right. Okay. And what was the time?
2222.
Oh, that's right. How do I always forget that?
It's fun to say every time.
Okay, good.
And we get excited about it every time.
Exactly. That's so true. Okay, so you're a double Queen of Diamonds. Oh, and we're Capricorn. Yep. So another thing is this whole year, as we've said in the past, you have this being of two minds, not really being able to make up your mind as a three. They say as well, 3 of clubs is not a very loyal card. And that's just for you this year. It might be hard. It's like, I have this one, but then there's this one over here too. And what's that like? So it's a bit of an expansion card and restless and creative. I would say you're almost at the end of your year. Don't feel like you have to put your eggs in one basket. Especially with a 6 of hearts, it can be the ceiling thing. It's like you want a change in love, but you can't break through the ceiling, like something's going on. Your theme is this unconditional love. So you want that, but it could look like maybe you're a little bit worried because you know what's on the other side of giving of yourself, especially as a 10 of hearts. Like you put all yourself into this relationship and then it smashes. And then you're like, well, but you have a Pluto 2 of hearts. So that's something you want this year. It does say you will overcome obstacles and be able to have the lifestyle you want with regards to your love relationships. It's interesting that these women are falling into your last part of your spread.
Mhm.
You have the Queen of Hearts in Neptune. So this is like, we've said this before, but it's like fantasizing about the ideal lover all year long. And that's probably hard for a 10 of hearts too, because you're like, where is she? But looking into next year, a change of relationship status, that is a blessing for you. You have this experience of unconditional love by the end of the year. A stable love is on your mind all year. Next year is going to be more about your mental and spiritual work. It's on your mind all year. You have some kind of unexpected ending. And then you have this stable love thing and it's unexpected. And then you have at the same time, you have a fresh or self-love elevation that comes in. Next fall is going to be really interesting for you. I'm excited about this.
And the
It-
only card that I see of the 2 people you mentioned is the 4 of spades for
In-
next year.
in
That's
Jupiter.
showing up.
Yep. Which is long range.
That's the January person.
And she's Capricorn too. That's
And
Interesting.
Let's
I
do a
don't
love
s-
cards. What were you gonna say, Sharon?
I don't see the cards coming up for the February person at all next year. So you may be making a decision.
We're gonna quickly look just for we don't usually do these. These are my favorite. I love love. Here's
You get a
Ian.
special bonus, Ian.
Yes. So you said January 10th. Oh, she's your moon. That's the first connection. This is very significant. If you wanted, this woman has been your wife in a past life already. And she could be someone that you feel very supported and loved by. But like when she looks at you as the sun, she sees her future. And she can't help but be loving and supportive to you. She just feels like she revolves around you, which is perfect for a 10 of hearts. And she's your Jupiter. So you make more money with her in your life and you are spiritually benefited. This is good for friendship. You're the Uranus card to her, but you could do things that are unexpected to her. Just watch for that. Expectations can be kind of big there. She is your Saturn. So that can be a little, well, you guys are Saturn to each other. So be open to learning things from each other. It's not the first connection like I have with my husband, but it can feel a little bit criticizing sometimes. She's the moon. He's the Jupiter to her. There's so much Jupiter going on here, and she's Venus to him. So that's really sweet. He just loves the way she smells and enjoys being together with her. I like this. We're going to need an update.
Yes.
This is going to be a really valuable recording if something ends up happening.
Right?
Yeah.
And Christy, since I haven't seen this one before either, is this showing for both of his cards or is this just his 10 of hearts?
It's
that
all
we're
of them.
looking at?
The great thing about the
It shows
software
everything.
is it actually, because you could do all this in the books, but there is a formula. Like first you have to do the birth cards and then the other ones, but there are stronger and weaker positions for everything. This does it all for you. So as much as before I like to go through the book, this is way more accurate. The fact that she's his moon first is like, oh Lord, yeah, you guys were married in a past life, very possibly could be married in this life with no issues. That's the most important thing. So yes, she is your moon. So you guys were married in a past life and could definitely be married in this life. You're interested in her, but she's always going to be more interested in you because of how you already are. It's almost like that kind of a power give and take makes sense. Like that would be almost what you need to have for it to go really well. Then you guys have all this Jupiter, like you make more money with her in your life. You're Saturn to each other. So just, there's something you're here to teach each other, but it can seem a little bit criticizing at times. But yeah, you guys are spiritual blessings to each other, financial blessings to each other. I was saying
And she's literally in next year's spread. So
Yeah.
this is very exciting.
How are you feeling about her? Is that how you were leaning or were you kind of unsure? Because, we're not going to force you to marry her.
Yeah, honestly, I've been doing a lot of soul searching since I got divorced and everything and had 2 failed relationships. So now I'm exploring everything from my sexuality to different things. I've entered the E&M world so I can date people and put myself out there and meet a whole bunch of different people. So I've met a few different people, which are all kind of on the same page, which is nice. And I'm not going to get forced into one thing. I had a good connection with her. There was definitely the criticism part. We were both upfront with some concerns and we both handled it maturely. She is a bit younger, so I can see that looking up to me part for sure. There was a situation that I was like, oh, I might not stick around this one, but change. So we'll see where it goes. And then I've got a couple real spiritual people that have entered my life about healing sexually and everything. So I think it ties into that where you're saying by next fall, I'll go through this phase of healing and getting touched spiritually. I think you're confirming I'm on the right path. I just want to know what red flags do I need to be mindful of as I'm going down this venture that I've been thinking about doing forever. So
Yeah. And that's good because you have this emotional restlessness that takes care of you. So you're wanting to experience new things emotionally, kind of like traveling here and there. You don't want to like put your bags down for too long. So that totally makes sense.
well, I travel for work 50% of the time. So that ties in a bit.
Right. But also that extends to your emotional life this year. Like that is a huge part of it. And looking into next year, it's not like the traveling stops. Changing your mind is a huge benefit. Next year, you do want unconditional love.
I did want to mention, Ian, when somebody is the moon card, it's not necessarily looking up to you, it's looking forward at you. So you're the captain of the ship. You are taking the ship somewhere and this other person is behind you and they're the supporting role. They're the one that's doing everything to keep the ship afloat and make sure you're not hitting anything. They're doing the work behind you, but you're up there looking forward, manning the ship and looking ahead to where you're going so you don't see that person behind you. So somebody who's moon to you could feel like, why doesn't he see me? Why doesn't he see all that I bring to him? Because you don't. You know that they're there and you depend on them or You can feel their support and their love, but you're focused forward. They're behind you, so they're focused forward, and all they see is you. You see this vast expanse of an ocean ahead of you. Where are we going? Where are we headed? I'm driving the ship, but all they see is you. So the person who is the moon card could tend to feel very insignificant at times if you're looking forward and not recognizing that they're behind you doing all this supporting role stuff. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
You are Uranus to her, so you're always doing unexpected stuff or breaking her expectations, but you're not trying to do that. You're just doing it. And she's like, what the hell, you know? So
Yeah.
that's a natural part of what, and especially with her behind you as the moon, it's like, you can't hear it until she's screaming. You're just like, what's even going on back there? I'm driving the ship. And that's another thing. The sun person, which is you, is in charge of where the relationship goes. Like, she's not here to initiate that, regardless of like the human design stuff. It does have to be you to be like, hey, do you want to ride in the canoe with me? Here's where I'm going. Are you coming? Generally, in the sun and moon relationship, if it fails, this sounds crazy, but it's the fault of the sun person for not leading it. So it's, or I will say responsibility. So it's not your fault if it goes wrong. It can be like she was unwilling to get on board with you.
Right.
But generally, it's like the sun person feels like, you know, here's where we get all convoluted with human design. Generators aren't here to initiate. I'm the sun person in my marriage. I'm a projector, and my husband is a manifester. So you can imagine my surprise. People have said to me, did he invite you? It kind of felt like energetic inviting, but when I learned
Right.
that I was the sun and he was the moon, I was like, oh, that makes sense. I kind of sat there and stared at him until he told me I was going to come back with him. So
Right.
yeah, it can be interesting. You know, we try to flow with the energies. You are in charge. If you want this relationship to go somewhere, it's going to be you that starts the boat. But if you don't, then you lead this into a friendship or whatever it is.
Okay.
And the moon
Interesting.
card, no matter what their design is, they are wanting you to drive the ship. They're just sitting back there waiting for you to go, okay, this is the direction we're heading. It's not that they're not contributing to where things are headed. They're literally just waiting for the captain of the ship to say, we're going this way. And then they're like, okay, now I get to choose. Am I on board with that or am I not?
Yeah.
Can we set something up? Then I can just fire you off a bunch of birthdays.
We should create a membership thing, Chrissy.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like
Actually, something I
$29 a month, and you get to send us all your birthday.
Perfect. I'm in.
Thank you, everyone, so much. It's been such a pleasure being here with all of you and you bringing your lives to us and us playing around with all your cards and charts. So we're hoping you will join us next time.
Thank you all so much for being with us today. We thoroughly enjoy your authentic sharing and the gift of having you in our lives and allowing us to give you some little bits of light on that path ahead. So today, we focused on the energy of the new moon in Libra that brought with it healing, clarity, harmony, and growth. Next up, we have the Beaver supermoon in Taurus, a full moon all about grounding, clarity, and slowing down. As the brightest and closest moon of the year, it's shining a light on what feels stable, secure, and truly aligned. Taurus energy reminds us to get out of our own heads and back into our bodies. Enjoy the simple things, release the pressure, and trust what feels solid and real. In the days leading up to this full moon, we're invited to gently let go of the weight we've been carrying, the stories that keep us in scarcity, the need to have it all figured out, the worry that pulls us out of the present moment. It's time to release the noise and return to what's steady, safe, and true within. And that could not align more perfectly with human design. Getting out of our minds and into our bodies is exactly how we connect with our authority, our unique inner decision-making tool that helps us make authentic choices. Stay tuned for the exact dates. We hope to see you all there, and we thank you for being here today.